Recording Jackson's progress on the garden today. He's not quite awake yet, but figured this would be a good chance. It's the early morning. Not really early for some people, it's 9 a.m. But carved out the side, did that himself. Looks so much better. Telling me about how his parents are displaying or mentioning, well, particularly he mentioned his mom is skeptical about how his garden will actually grow. The way that he's mixed all the plants together, and I'm sure there's some on the internet who are watching who are the same way, but he's just giving every plant a fair chance. Well, as fair as he's willing to really grant. I don't know. I don't mind it. Carson put those stone flags in there. Those used to be around the fire pit. I've always liked the look, and they want to do it right here. We need to get more stone flags, though. Not sure where he's going to put the rest of the rocks. These are just rocks from the front yard, just random little pebble rocks. You can see some different plants. I'm sure you can make out the right ones, but it's all looking real nice. The idea he had with putting the telescope here is that they would grow up the legs, kind of twining up like vines. Sort of doing it, giving them something to latch onto, I guess. I was telling him that maybe those big rocks right there, if you can get more of those, scatter them throughout this mound right here that he's made, and actually scatter them, not have them like that, like all along the base, although that would be kind of cool too. I think you could just scatter those here and there, so he would have to get more, but I think that would give him the chance, because I was telling him, he mentioned to me that he ran out of this kind of rock that he put on, and I think if he scattered some of these big rocks around the top, that would save him enough rocks to be able to cover the whole thing, instead of leave this open patch right here. He was a little bit irritated about that the amount of rocks that he put on here wasn't quite enough to cover that little bit right there. I still think it looks quite good. Would look a lot better, but I think those rocks provide enough of an aesthetic that if he plotted them around, they would still look really, kind of garden-like, but a bit more natural, because those rocks look like, it looks, looks medieval. It looks like some rocks that just some guys got from the river or something like that. Those rocks actually look processed. Well, they look nice, but they do look... It definitely presents a sort of artificiality. So, I think these rocks scattered around would give this mound a sort of very natural-looking aesthetic, while these rocks would provide a modern backdrop, if you know what I mean. That's my thinking anyways. I know it's probably still encouraging Jackson's very unorthodox method of laying out his garden, but here's the pond. Very nice. So the idea was that we have I don't know if you guys can see that through the tree. Yeah, not very well. McClellan is about just a few miles away from here. Anyways, this pond. That's what I was going to mention, is that we were thinking that water could be pumped in to the pond somehow, and then it would just be a constant flow of water for his garden. So it would just kind of sweep out of there. And for those who are thinking, well, you didn't cut that part out. You're supposed to cut this plastic mold to allow water to flow out, because it comes up right here, this lip. So I'm pretty sure what you're supposed to do, and I told Jackson this when we bought it, or when he bought it, I should say, is to cut this out of the plastic molding so that the water flows out like a waterfall much more appropriately. I mean, it's not going to a waterfall, it's just going to his garden. But what he suggested and what we ended up doing was we dug this hole that the pond rests in a way where the whole backside is elevated. I felt raindrops on me. It might start raining in a second here. But that's how he wanted it, and that's how it works, and I mean, I don't mind it. Again, unorthodox, but it's his garden. I'm not going to say anything other than what I did suggest, but obviously, yeah. I do like how the moss turned out. Honestly, I don't mean to go back to this, but I don't think the cutout would have worked really well anyways. Would have had to dug a channel right here or something, which would have made it look a bit less neat. But it's whatever. I still think it looks really good. And again, I know some people are going to be watching this going, wow, that's absolutely not how I would use it. But again, not your garden. You're welcome to comment though. I don't think I would love to run this channel with a strict never turn comments off option. I think there's one video that I posted recently where I marked it for kids or something like that, because it's just a video of Jackson's parents' cat. I'll be sure to change that so that comments are reactivated. But yeah, feel free to share your opinion, and we'll consider it. Because outside input is always a good thing. And this in particular, I think he said he's... Oh! Uh-oh. This doesn't look good. I'll be honest, this was not like this yesterday. The ground is moist, so... Damn. This one's fine. This guy's struggling a little bit. And there is some damage going on, even to this one. Definitely insects, and yeah, these ones over here are not looking so good either. Jackson was showing me a lot of this yesterday with quite some enthusiasm. I think this, all of this, well, this he did a few days ago, but these plants in the rim around, he did this just yesterday. Before then, they were just in the pots. They weren't in the ground. He just did that. So the fact that they're wilting now, it doesn't look promising. I don't really want to overwater them. In fact, that may or may not have been what caused that, is for the ground to be oversaturated with water. They are tropical plants, though. I'm not a plant buff. I'm not a botanist by any means, so I'm just kind of doing some elaborate guesswork. These look good. He was trying to do a sort of patterned symmetry sort of deal, something aesthetically pleasing. It did look good when he planted it, but obviously the choice of plants it'll play its part out, is the best I can say. Yep, starting to rain a little bit. The forecast was showing rain for the past few days, but not particularly. It hasn't really been raining. It's just been sunny. It's kind of irritating. But yeah, that is the garden as of today. And I'm really hoping that we can remember to vlog the garden, because mostly just for ourselves. We really, really would like to look back on this in the future when we see the garden where it's at further on from now. It'd be nice to track how certain plants last, just for the sake of information anyways, because Jackson really is just kind of trying all this. He doesn't mind any results. Plants are plants, and some will die, some will live. In the end, though, he does want his garden to look beautiful. It's all a work in progress. Everything can be changed at any point. Everything can be messed with or dug up or replanted. It all doesn't have to be just, you know, you buy certain plants, you draw out certain plans, and that's how your garden exists for a whole however long. That's boring. I'll side with him on that. Tiki torches. He loves these tiki torches. I don't know why I decided to show you guys that. It's just a tiki torch. It's got this mosquito repellent fuel. It's almost out. Well, to be fair, the guys Carson just poured a bunch on some stuff that they were burning in the fire pit last night. So I'm wondering how often they've been doing that. Jackson says he's been burning these tiki torches almost every night, though, so I hope he counts on getting a new one basically every month at least. We only bought this a week ago. Actually, only a few days ago. I'm trying to remember exactly. Yeah, as for this over here, the fence is kind of something going on between him and his neighbor. I guess they haven't quite gotten to that. It's not like a drama thing. It's just a putting it off thing more so. But he wants to do a wood patio and then an amphitheater where the ground is dug out towards the wall. And I don't know if he wants to put up a screen for entertainment or something like that, but he just wants like a circular amphitheater, maybe with levels and other stuff. I don't know how deep he wants it dug, but it sounds like from talking to him that he wanted it pretty big, but he may downsize it for the sake of, you know, realism. But he did want a big kind of viewing / social area, maybe to replace the fire pit. But he still also mentioned to me last night that he did want to keep a fire pit up here. But he wanted a wooden porch right here. And what I'm wondering is if he wants just a regular square one, or if he wants like a chiseled one that matches with the amphitheater, so that people can step up from the amphitheater and onto the wooden porch. Of course, the wooden porch is for the barbecue, and just kind of an elevated place for any other sort of social interaction. Yes, the backyard is a mess. We know. It's a mess right now because it's a work in progress. It's an adventure. And we're not, you know, the most neat or handy people. We're just dudes trying to make it in this coronavirus mess. Trying to figure out what to do with ourselves. Well, Jackson's had this plan for his backyard, I guess, for a while, but he's taking advantage of the downtime to, you know, make it happen. Which you can't hold that back. Alright, I'm kind of rambling at this point, so I'm just going to show the rest of the plants that Jackson has lined up to plant, either in the backyard or the front. Although, sounds like from what he's mentioned, just here in the backyard. Probably around wherever the porch is going to go, or the amphitheater. He's got more cypress trees. He did originally want to line this whole bit with cypress trees, but I think from here where it goes on out, he'll have a different pattern. Oh, this one's already struggling quite a bit. Maybe I want to water it. I don't know. It does actually look a bit dry in some parts. God, I wish I knew more about plants, but I already have that problem quite a bit. Just trying to think that I know a lot about everything, and then going into learning it, spending a lot of time on it, and then I just can't keep up with everything. Can't do everything. Aww. Well, just leave that for Jackson when he comes out here, and probably the next hour. He went to bed at like roughly 2 to 3 a.m. last night, so he should be back. He should be up in a more reasonable hour of the day. Although that's not to be said to me. My sleeping schedule is completely trash. This is looking just fine. Yeah, I think some of these... yeah, the insect population back here is probably having a field day with these exotic plants that are well and out of their element. I think these are just fruit trees. This is the guava, granada, pomegranate. Yeah. Very cool. But yeah, just wanted to update the YouTube on the garden as a reference to ourselves in the future. Hi, future ourselves. Hope that you enjoyed this video, and yeah, see you next time.